Okay then, in this video we will discuss Python indentation. So what is indentation? Well, indentation in Python refers to the spaces at the beginning of a code line. And Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. Let me show you what I am talking about. So for that, I'm gonna write a simple block of code. And for that, I will use if statement. So if you don't understand if statement, that's all right, don't worry. So it's gonna be a very basic one. So if 10 is greater than 5, print this statement, which is 10 is greater than 5, like so. So in here, I have indentation. In other words, I have two spaces, okay? So that's how Python knows that this print statement belongs to this if block. So now if I execute this code like so, this print statement will be executed. So if I write another print statement, check. This second print statement belongs to this if block too, all right? Because you see now now it's printing out these two messages. So they both belong to this if block because they both have the same indentation. All right. So as you can see, I have two spaces. So the number of spaces is up to you. But the most common indentation space is 2 or 4. Okay. But please always remember that your indentation needs to be consistent. So for instance, if you are using two spaces, in all your code, your spaces should be your indentation should be 2 spaces. So for instance, if I make in here 3 spaces, Python will throw an error saying that it's a wrong indentation error. In other words, you see, indentation error. So your indentation spaces should always be the same, okay? So now to explain this indentation in more detail, let's write another block of code. So for that, let's write again if statement. So I'll say if 20 is greater than 10, which is again always true, print message 20 is greater than 10. So in here, so this is our second block of code. Okay, so this one is our first block of code, and this one is second. So whatever comes after this if statement will belong to this if second block. So if I run this code, so now I will get these 3 messages, and the first 2 are coming from our first block, and the second one is coming from my second block of code. All right. So now if you would like to quit this block, what you need to do is you can press Control and then left arrow, and it will jump to the beginning. That means it will just, you will not have any indentation. So if I just write print outside the if block. So now this print statement is outside the if block. So if I just run this, so 10 is greater than 5, check are coming from my first block, and this one is coming from the second block. To better explain this, let me make this one false. So that means 10 is less than 5. So that means it's never true. That means these 2 print statements will never be executed. So let me show this to you. So if I say this, you see, now you can see only this outside the if block message, because these 2 print statements belong to the first block, and the first block, in the first block I have if statement, and this if statement now is false because 10 is not less than 5. So that's why these two print statements are not getting executed. All right. So that's all about Python indentation. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.